Oi, I'm back with another video, man. Here to learn about plasms at the end of the day. In terms of, thing is, plasms in the Bible is a chapter where it talks a lot about wisdom, and wisdom we can use in daily life as well. Wait, no, not plasms. Eh? Wait, what was I on? What was it? Was it plasms? Wait a minute. No, Proverbs. What am I talking about? Proverbs. That's the next chapter, man, that we're going to be talking about now. I mean, we did the previous chapter where we was talking about. Wait a minute. Yeah, we did the previous chapter where we was talking about lust. Was it Judges? That was the one. We're on Proverbs now, where we're going to talk more about um, wisdom and what we can use, what we can take from it. So let's just start off with this, an introduction to Proverbs right now. So Proverbs itself mentions Solomon as author or collector of its contents, including Proverbs copied by Hezekiah's men. There are also two batches of sayings from a group called the Wise, and oracles from Agur and Lemuel. No author is named for the song in praise of excellent wife that ends the book, although Proverbs was begun in the same time of Solomon. It probably was not in its present form until the time of Hezekiah. So, the theme. The goal of the book is stated right at the beginning to describe what wisdom is and to help God's people become wise. Wisdom is found in the fear of the Lord, and it enables believers to express their faith in the practical details of everyday life. So, the audience. The book is addressed to young men. The situations he will face The situations he will face while he is young receive much attention. These situations supply concrete examples from which all readers can apply lessons to their own lives. Anyone who is wise and who pays attention will benefit from this instruction. So, reading Proverbs, right? So, the reader of Proverbs must seek to understand the various types of people the book describes. The most obvious character in the book are the wise, the fool, and the simple. Proverbs urges its readers to be wise, which means embracing God's covenant and living out the covenant in everyday situations. The fool is the person who constantly opposes God's covenant. The simple is the person who is not firmly committed either to wisdom or to folly. He is easily misled. The first 9 chapters of Proverbs are wisdom poems that urge the reader to pursue wisdom. The main section of Proverbs, the concise, memorable statement of 2 or 3 lines, begins in 10:1. Proverbs often seem to be more observations about life, but their deeper meanings will reveal themselves if the following questions are kept in mind. What virtue does this proverb command? What vice does it disprove of? What value does it affirm? Key themes. Proverbs offers wisdom on a wide array of topics from daily life, diligence and laziness, friendships, speech, marriage, child rearing, can't say that, domestic peace, work, getting along and good manners, eternity, and much more. It shows that godliness is of value in every way, as it holds promise for the present life and also for the life to come. God's will is intensely practical, applying to every aspect of life. A proper relation to God involves trying hard to understand His truth and then embracing and obeying that truth. Right. Introduction to Proverbs, right? A life lived by God's will is a happy life. A life lived by God's will is a useful life. A life lived by God's will does not just happen. One must seek after it. The outline. Title, goal, and motto: A Father's Invitation to Wisdom, Proverbs of Solomon. So Solomon's was basically like a king, I think. He was a very wise guy. I think his downfall was women in the end. His women kind of turned his heart away from God. So that's kind of what it goes on about in Proverbs as well, in terms of like the women you deal with and you wanting to find a godly woman for the long term and stuff like that. The 30 sayings of the wise, further sayings of the wise, Hezekiah's collection of the Solomatic proverbs, the sayings of Agur, the sayings of kings Lemuel, and an alphabet of womanly excellence. So that's what it talks about in Proverbs, basically. So let's start at the beginning of Proverbs right now. So the first chapter is called the beginning of knowledge. The Proverbs of Solomon, son of David, king of Israel, to know wisdom and instruction, to understand words of insight, to receive instruction in wise dealing, in righteousness, justice, and equity, to give prudence to the simple, knowledge and discretion to the youth. Let the wise hear and increase in learning, and the one who understands obtain guidance. To understand a proverb and saying, the words of the wise and their riddles. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. Fool despise wisdom and instruction. So let's break this down. So the title, goal, and motto. After the title, there is an instruction that describes the goal of the whole book and the motto that underlies every instruction in the book. So what I've just read there, it kind of breaks it down even more. So the verses gives the purpose and benefit of the book. It instills wisdom in the reader. The wisdom offered here is practical instruction in wise dealing, intellectual, increasing learning, moral righteousness, justice and equity, and inquiring to understand a proverb and riddles. It is for all the people, whether they are naive and untaught, the simple, the youth, or already experienced, yet let the wise hear. Well, I don't know, it says that in brackets. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. This is the core truth of the book. The quest for wisdom begins with the fear of the Lord. Knowledge and wisdom are closely tied together in Proverbs. Knowledge tends to focus on correct understanding of the world and oneself as creatures of the magnificent and loving God. Wisdom is an acquired skill in the art of godly living. Fear of the Lord means to respect, obey, and worship only God. Pursuing wisdom by fearing the Lord distinguishes the biblical search for knowledge and wisdom from that of the surrounding cultures. Submissions to the Lord is the key to attainment of real understanding. By using the covenant name, the Lord, in preference to the more generic God, this verse shows that the truth is found through Israel's God alone. In addition, the verse asserts that the fools despise wisdom and instruction, though contrasting the 2 days of wisdom and folly. This contrast dominates the entire book. The enticement of sinners. Hear, my son, your father's instruction. Yes, we're going on to the next bit now. So hear, my son, your father's instruction, and forsake that your mother's teaching, for they are a graceful garland for your head and pendants for your neck. My son, if sinners entice you, do not consent. If they say, come with us, let us lie in wait for blood. Let us ambush the innocent with reasons. Like Sheol, let us swallow them alive, and whole like those who go down to the pit. We shall find all precious goods. We shall fill our houses with plunder. Throw in your lot among us. We will have one purse. So let's have a look at this. A father's invitation to wisdom. This section describes the two paths implied: the wise, grounded in the fear of the Lord, and foolish, despising such wisdom and instruction. The appeals consist: a father and a mother, encouraging a son to seek wisdom, and warning him against the ruin that comes from folly. Wisdom, personified as a woman, calling on all who listen to seek her. A final contrast of the two paths represents by Lady Wisdom and Lady Folly. The purpose of the section is to instruct the young and simple to embrace wisdom and to instill in them the desire to recognize and continue in the path of wisdom. Your father's instructions, your mother's teachings, the training. Wait a minute, it says something else. The training is wisdom referred to in Proverbs includes instruction in the home by parents. In biblical times, proverbs were often used as means of instruction for young people. The Hebrew word for peace is shalom. It means much more than just the absence of conflict and turmoil. It means that all is well in a person's life. In wisdom, yeah, I think I've already read that. A bird that sees a fowler spreading a net. I haven't read that yet. What am I talking about? Yeah, so next page. My son, do not walk in the way with them. Hold back your foot from their path, for their feet run to evil. They make haste to shed blood, for in vain is a net spread in the sight of any bird. But these men lie in wait for their own blood. They set an ambush for their own lives. Such are ways of everyone who is greedy for unjust gain. It takes away the life of its processes. So let's read that. Let's dissect that down. So I've just read line 15 to line 17. So a bird that sees a fowler spreading a net is aware of the trap and will flee the danger rather than take the bait. However, those who seek to trap the innocent overlook the fact that they are setting an ambush for their own lives. Wisdom is personified here as a woman. She is pictured appealing to simple ones, scoffers and fools to pay attention to her. Wisdom speaks in a way that recalls the words of the Lord. I will pour out my spirit to you. I will make my words known to you. It's a weird one because when I hear about stuff like this, yeah, I'm not even speaking from the book now. Like when I hear about when I'm reading this, when it talks about the fact that don't follow the sinners and stuff like that, it makes me think about even just a little stuff like, even going on like night outs and stuff like that. It's like I know that's not really good for me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, it was good in the past, but when I think about it, what's so tempting about it? What is it? The women? Is it just the fact of going out drinking? You know what I mean? Like, it's like you're trying to get that instant gratification, but in the end, it's like you never feel fulfilled. It's like you're always trying to fill the void, yeah? Whether it's to try and get a woman, whether it's to just go out drinking, to be on a high. You're always trying to fill that void, but you never ever get filled. That's how that's how I'm reading that when it says, "Oh, don't follow the sinners" and stuff like that. I mean, don't get me wrong. I feel like there's nothing really wrong with going out, but every once in a blue moon, you know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with going out with friends and like a night out with friends and just having fun and stuff like that. But I don't know, man. When it comes to like dealing with women and stuff like that, you got to be careful who you deal with. You know what I mean? I mean, we spoke about this previously in the Samsung one, but you got to be careful. You can't just be dealing with just anybody and anyone. I'm trying to think what else. I mean, it can even be certain things like drugs. You know what I mean? Like you're being with a group of people that do drugs. It's like you know that's not good for you. Yeah, it might get you on a high, but in the long run, it's only going to end up with you in one place, and you're just going to end up in the pits. You know what I mean? You're going to end up in that rut. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've never really dealt with anything like that in my life, like in terms of drugs. I've never been that type of guy. Maybe the night out life, you know what I mean, like going out drinking and stuff like that. But even then, I wouldn't say I was really heavy on it. But even every now and then, I might look and you're seeing all these attractive girls out and stuff like that. You're seeing all these attractive girls on a night out, and you're like, it's quite tempting that. But I know. After once it's all said and done, I just know I'm gonna regret doing that, going on that night out. I know I'm gonna regret it because at the end of the day, there's nothing to it other than just, you go out, you're paying to a club, you're paying to get a drink, and not also that, but even just trying to chat to just people, just in general, whether it's women or just anybody, like you just get bad vibes, nothing but bad vibes. That's my experience, though. You know what I mean? I just feel like you get nothing but bad vibes. Like nothing valuable ever comes out of it. It's not exactly following your purpose, is it? it's one of them ones. That's me personally though, you know. But anyways, what's everyone else saying? Wait a minute. Anyone else saying anything? Reading. All right. Wait a minute. Reading the Bible. Yeah, just reading the Bible at the moment. Yeah, just reading the Bible. Proverbs, man. Proverbs. That's what we're reading today, man. We're reading Proverbs. So just basically learning about wisdom. In Proverbs, this chapter of the Bible, it's just talking about wisdom, how men can do better. Just people in general as well, but it's mainly a men's study Bible here. So yeah, that's basically what it is. Yeah, man. So let's read the next chapter. The call to wisdom. The call to wisdom. Wait a minute. Yeah, the call to wisdom. Wisdom cries aloud in the street. In the markets, she raises her voice. So when it's talking about she, it's talking about wisdom. Like the wisdom is a girl in this Bible right now. So I don't think it's an actual girl. It's like it's a girl in the Bible. Wisdom, like wisdom. You know what I mean? At the head of the noisy streets, she cries out. At the entrance of the city gates, she speaks. How long, O simple ones, will you love being simple? Yeah, how long, O simple ones, will you love being simple? Simple. How long will scoffers delight in their scoffing, and fools hate knowledge? If you turn at my reproof, behold, I will pour out my spirit to you. I will make my words known to you, because I have called and you refused to listen, have stretched out my hand and no one has heeded, because you have ignored all my counsel and would have none of my reproof. I also will laugh at your calamity. I will mock when terror strikes you. When terror strikes you like a storm, and your calamity comes like a whirlwind. When distress and anguish come upon you, then they will call upon me, but I will not answer. They will seek me diligently, but will not find me. That's powerful, you know. I can't lie, that's powerful. So it's in the book, when it's dissecting that bit down, it's saying wisdom is personified here as a woman. She is pictured appealing to simple ones, scoffers, and fools to pay attention to her words. Wisdom speaks in a way that recalls the words of the Lord. I will pour out my spirit to you. I will make my wisdom known to you. Therefore, they shall eat the fruit of their way. A person's actions both reveal the state of the heart and also help to shape a person's character. Those who refuse to listen to wisdom's correction, will walk in a way that will ultimately produce calamity, terror, and destruction for their own lives. For a similar description of the two paths and their ends, the verses call the listener of the reader to seek wisdom diligently. The first benefit of wisdom is that one will understand the fear of the Lord. This knowledge is possible only because the Lord gives it to the upright. While wisdom is to be sought diligently, it is not something merited by the actions of an individual. The second benefit of wisdom is that one gains an understanding of righteousness and justice and equity. Wisdom takes root in the heart. Sorry about that. Wisdom takes root in the heart and protects the person who embraces it. The Lord will be watching over the way of his saints through the wisdom and the understanding he will give them. Yeah, I think that's quite powerful, you know. I'm not gonna lie, that bit that I just read there a bit ago, I feel like that's quite a powerful one, you know. Just how it talks about, like, if you just ignore wisdom and stuff like that, then, you know, your life's only gonna end up being just terrible, you know what I mean? Which is true, you know. I feel like there's countless times where, you know, I'm trying to think of an example here, like, you know something's not good, like I said, the night outs, or even just dating a woman. You know, there's been times where I've dated a woman, I know for a fact she's not good for me, man. I'm not exactly using no wisdom. I know I've seen the red flags, but I'm still carrying on to date that woman. I mean, there's loads of other occasions where, you know, my friends might have dealt with a woman and they're paying the consequence now. You know what I mean? In the long term, it might have been good in the moment. She might have been good looking and stuff like that in the moment, but now it's like, what now? You know, you've got a kid. You know, they might have a kid to her. I know someone that's got a kid to a terrible woman. To be fair, you know what I mean? Like, it brings nothing but hell to his life. Can barely see his kids. You know what I mean? Just something simple like that. Even myself, I mean, I haven't got a kid to no woman, thankfully. That's like, tacked in the head. But even just something like that. I've dealt with, one or two women where it's like, whoa, you're not the one for me, but I'm still like, oh, it's just a bit of fun, let's just deal with it. It's like, nah, I've changed my ways now, you know what I mean? It's like, in the long run, you just know it's gonna go downhill, you know. But I feel like when you're in that moment, you just know whether something's right. You're in a situation, it's not right, but you shouldn't deal with it. But when you end up dealing with it, you're only gonna end up paying the consequence. You feel it in your gut. You feel it in your gut. You know what I mean? It's mad. It's mad. Even just something like that, just something like that, like what I've just told you. It's crazy, man. You gotta be careful out there. But anyways, let's carry on reading. Right. So where we at? I've just read that page now. So, well, no, I haven't. Right. We'll go on this bit now. The value of wisdom. My son, if you receive my words and treasure up my commandments with you, making your ear attentive to wisdom and inclining your heart to understanding, yes, if you call out for insight and raise your voice for understanding, if you seek it like silver and search for it as for hidden treasures, then you will understand the fear of the Lord and find the knowledge of God. For the Lord gives wisdom. From his mouth come knowledge and understanding. He stores up sound wisdom for the upright. He is shield to those who walk in integrity, guarding the path of justice and watching over the way of his saints. Then you will understand righteousness and justice and equity. Every good path for wisdom will come into your heart, and knowledge will be pleasant to your soul. Discretion will watch over you. Understanding will guard you. Powerful, man. Delivering you from the way of evil, from men of perverted speech who forsake the paths of uprightness to walk in the ways of darkness, who rejoice in doing evil and delight in the perverseness of evil. Men whose paths are crooked and who are devious in their ways. Gosh, said that a bit. Never mind about it. So you will be delivered from the forbidden woman, from the adulteress with her smooth words, who forsakes the companion of her youth and forgets the covenant of her God. For her house sinks down to death, and her paths to the departed. None who go to her come back, nor do they regain the path of life. Wow, freaking hell. I mean, I've read this chapter once, but I can't remember reading that bit. I swear, I feel like certain bits just kind of stick out. You know what I mean? Like, every time, man. There's so much in the Bible to read, man. I'm telling you, man. It's crazy. I think that's powerful, man. It's true, man. It kind of just talks about real life right there. You know what I mean? I feel like we need to read that again one more time. So you will be delivered from the forbidden woman, from the adulteress with her smooth words. I mean, let's be honest, man. I always feel like when you date a woman as well, it's always good at the start. You know what I mean? From my past experiences, yeah, it's always good at the start. You know what I mean? The smooth words, everything like that, but then give it like a few months later, you start to see the true them, man. I don't know if you guys can relate, but you start to see the true them. Vice versa, if you're a woman as well, it can happen to a woman as well. The guy might seem like he's interested and everything like that, and then boom, man. You know what I mean? You start to see the real side of them. And vice versa. It's not just men, but I'm just speaking from my experiences. So anyways, from the adulteress with her smooth words, who forsakes the companion of her youth and forgets the covenant of her God, for her house sinks down to death and her paths to the departed. None who go to her come back, nor do they regain the path of life. This is what I'm saying, man. None who go to her come back. It's true, man. A lot of guys that date women, there's been a lot of guys that die because they've dated certain women. You know what I mean? It's crazy, man. There's even stuff that could have happened to me, to be fair, from dating a woman. You know what I mean? But luckily, I'm all right. Nothing's no harm or anything like that. But like I said, I've never been that type of guy to do drama. But just goes to show, man. Like I said, it's mad. What are you guys saying, anyways? Any questions? Any questions? Wait a minute. why they take Matthew 70. That's because they go with, I'm thinking this way, Love it. It's not the best. I'm turning the light on, man. It's a bit dark. Freaking heck. It's a bit dark, can't lie. That's because you go with the wrong intentions. How do you mean? How do you mean, mate? Yeah, at the time, I probably was going with the wrong intentions, to be fair. But I probably was. I can't lie, man. You know what I mean? Like, this is at the time. I'm talking about, like, the past as well, you know what I mean? As well as right now. Yeah, I can't lie, man. I probably was going with the wrong intentions, I ain't even gonna lie, looking back. You're right, I can't lie. You're definitely right on that one. But why we take out Matthew 17:21? I'm not too sure, I can't lie. I'm quite. I'm only just starting to get to know about this Bible stuff and all that lot. But the more I'm learning, the more I'm like, you know what? A lot of this stuff is making sense, man. You're telling me a lot of this stuff. You're telling me a lot of these things in the pages here were like done thousands of years back. But yet a lot of it's making sense. It's crazy, man. They're giving me all this knowledge right now. And to this day, it's still like up there. I find that crazy, I can't lie. I find that crazy. But anyways, where was I? We're gonna read it one more time because that hits deep, So you will be delivered from the forbidden woman, from the adulteress with her smooth words, who forsakes the companion of her youth and forgets the covenant of her God. For her house sinks down to death, and her paths to the departed. None who go to her come back, nor do they regain the path of life. It's true, man. There's so many people like that have dated people and like, I don't know, man. Look at them before they dated that person and they look so lively, and then you look at them after or during and they just look dead. They're not even chasing their goals, ambitions, nothing, man. They're just flat. So many people like that, man. Anyways, let's carry on, man. So you will walk in the way of the good and keep the path of righteousness for the upright. Will inhabit the land, and those with integrity will remain in it. But the wicked will be cut from the land, and the treacherous will be rooted out of it. Right. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. That's the next little chapter 3 of Proverbs, yeah? So let's do it. My son, do not forget my teachings, but let your heart keep my commandments. For length of days and years of life, and peace they will add to you. Let not steadfast love and faithfulness forsake you. Bind them around your neck, write them on the tablet of your heart. So you will find favor and good success in the sight of God and man. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make straight your paths. Be not wise in your own eyes. Fear the Lord and turn away from evil. It will be healing to your flesh and refreshment to your bones. Honor the Lord with your wealth and with the first fruits of all your produce. Then your barns will be filled with plenty, and your vats will be bursting with wine. My son, do not despise the Lord's discipline or weary of his reproof. The Lord reproves him who he loves as a father, the son in whom he delights. Blessed is the one who finds wisdom. Blessed is the one who finds wisdom, and the one who gets understanding, for the gain from her is better than gain from silver, and her profit better than gold. She is more precious than jewels, and nothing you desire can compare with her. Long life is in her right hand. In her left hand are riches and honor. Her ways are ways of pleasantness, and all her paths are peace. We'll dissect it down because it kind of dissects it down at the bottom as well. So it shows like the scriptures and then it dissects it down in a simpler kind of version. So that's what we're going to do as well. Right. So trust in the Lord is necessary for following the wise ways of life taught in Proverbs. Trust in the Lord is closely connected to fearing him. On your own understanding further explains what it means to trust in the Lord. The wise will govern themselves by what the Lord himself declares. They do not trust their own finite and often mistaken understanding if it opposes God's word. To make straight one's path means to continually progress toward a goal. In Proverbs, the emphasis is on the moral quality of one's life. The prosperity described here is the blessing of a covenant, a kind of restored Eden. Your barns will be filled with plenty describes the effect of honoring the Lord with all one has and is. A father should shape his own parenting according to the pattern set by the Lord's parenting. Yeah, man, I think there was something that kind of resonated with me a little bit. I can't even find the little I can't even find what it was I was gonna say, on this page. There's so much on it, There's so much on this page where it's like, oh, it's mad. It's mad. Next page, anyways, man. There's a lot, man. There's a lot of stuff. She's a tree of, you know what? Yeah, you know what? Now let's do it. She's a tree of life to those who lay hold of her. So it's still talking about wisdom here. Those who hold her fast are called blessed. The Lord by wisdom founded the earth, by understanding he established the heavens. By his knowledge the deep broke open and the clouds dropped the eh? the dew. My son, do not lose sight of these. Keep sound wisdom and discretion, and they will be life for your soul and adornment for your neck. Then you will walk on your way securely, and your foot will not stumble. If you lie down, you will not be afraid. When you lie down, your sleep will be sweet. Do not be afraid of sudden terror or of the ruin of the wicked. When it comes to the Lord will be your confidence, and will keep your foot from being caught. Do not withhold good from those to whom it is due, when it is your power to do it. Do not say to your neighbor, go and come again. Tomorrow I will give it. Let's move on. I feel like I want to move on to something a bit more. Let's have a look. Against adultery, bash out, I feel like it kind of goes on about the demonic kind of women, to be fair. What questions are, oh crap, what questions are being asked here? Right, the tissue, man. Oh, this is a bit runny. Can't lie. Right. Let's check this warning against adultery, anyways. Let's have a look. Warning against adultery. My son, be attentive to my wisdom. Incline your ear to my understanding, that you may keep discretion, and your lips may guard knowledge. For the lips of a forbidden woman drip honey, and her speech is smoother than oil. But in the end, she is bitter as wormwood, sharp as a two-edged sword. Her feet go down to death. Her steps follow the path of Sheol. She does not ponder the path of life. Her ways wander, and she does not know it. And I find that crazy, the fact that he talks about that as well. Yet again, man, her ways wander, and she does not know it. Basically, the path of Sheol is basically like the underground. So it's basically like the grave. Again, it talks about a woman taking you down to death. You know what I mean? And the fact that it says she does not know the path of life, her ways wander, and she does not know it. I mean, how many women have you noticed that you've dated and they always want to play the victim card, man? They never know that they're in the wrong, man. They always feel like they're in the right, but they're always in the, there's times when they're in the wrong. How crazy is that? You know what I mean? Crazy stuff, man. Crazy stuff. And now, O sons, listen to me, and do not depart from the words of my mouth. Keep your way far from her, and do not go near the door of her house, lest you give your honor to others, and your years to the merciless. Lest strangers take their fill of your strength, and your labors to go to the house of a foreigner. And at the end of your life, you groan When your flesh and body are consumed, and you say, how I hated discipline and my heart despised reproof, I did not listen to the voice of my teachers or incline my ears to my instructions. I am at the brink of utter ruin in the assembled congregation. Kind of crazy how it talks about discipline, man. Because I feel like on a biblical aspect, it's quite hard to be disciplined, man. You know what I mean? It's not easy, man. It's not easy at all. It's crazy stuff, man. It's actually crazy stuff. Drink water from your own cistern, flowing water from your own well. Should your spring be scattered abroad? Actually, no. I need to dissect this other verse down. What am I talking about? Warning against adultery. That's what I want to. That's what I want to dissect down. Let's do it. The sons. So we're gonna dissect it down. So it talks about it in a simpler version. The son's lips may guard knowledge. That is, he should not speak anything that is inconsistent with true knowledge and wisdom. In contrast, the lips of a forbidden woman are flattering. They drip honey, and her words are persuasive. Her speech is smoother than oil. The disastrous end of her own life proves her to be hollow and destructive. This instruction is repeated throughout the book. Recognize the right path and seek to stay on it. Stay on it. A person stays on the right path by following words of wisdom. Do not depart from the words of my mouth, and by avoiding evil. Keep your way far from her. The man who follows after the forbidden woman will see others take away from him the things that he himself should have enjoyed later in life. I find that crazy, you know, how it says that. The man who follows after the forbidden woman will see others take away from him the things that he himself should have enjoyed later in life. Honor and years, strength and labors. Such a wayward life also produces regret over the wasting of body and soul, and shame within the church and community. I mean, I don't even know, man. Even if you take the church and the community out of it, I just think that's crazy, you know. I feel like it just goes to show if you just deal with like the wrong woman and stuff like that, the forbidden woman, it's like you are technically wasting your time. You're technically avoiding yourself from becoming the best godly version of yourself. You know what I mean? Where it's crazy, man. I get what he's saying. I do get what he's saying. Yeah, that's mad. That I'm not gonna lie. That kind of hits deep in a way. I might read this a couple more pages, a couple more verses. Right. Drink water from your own cistern, flowing water from your own well. Should your springs be scattered abroad, streams of water in the streets, let them be for yourself alone, and not for your strangers. No, and not for strangers with you. Let your fountain, let your fountain be blessed, and rejoice in the wife of your youth. A lovely, dear, a graceful door. Let her breasts fill you at all times with delight. Be intoxicated always in her love. Why should you be intoxicated, my son, with a forbidden woman, and embrace the bosom of an adulteress? For a man's ways are before the eyes of the Lord, and he ponders all his paths. The iniquities of the wicked ensnare him, and he is held fast in the cords of his sin. He dies for the lack of discipline, and because of his great folly, he is led astray. Mad stuff, you know, man. I can't lie. It's actually mad stuff. The wife is pictured as a soft source of water, well fountain, etc. The man who is tempted to commit adultery should think about how he would feel if his wife were to do the same. Should your springs be scattered abroad, streams of water in the streets, he should be faithful to her just as he wants her to be faithful to him. The intimacy of marriage proves the place where sexual desires are rightly expressed for the enjoyment, rejoice, and the good be blessed of the both husband and wife. For a man, for a man's ways are before the eyes of the Lord, reminds the righteous of how the Lord blesses the one who stays on the good path. It also warns about being led astray by the forbidden woman. This can result in being held fast in sin. Interesting, man. Interesting, I can't lie. Right, we'll read the next. We'll read the the next verse, anyways. The practical warnings. The practical warnings. That's what it says. Chapter 6, Proverbs chapter 6, right? My son, if you have put up security for your neighbor, have given your pledge for a stranger, if you are snared in the of your mouth, caught in the words of your mouth, then do this, my son, and save yourself, for you have come into the hand of your neighbor. Go hasten and plead urgently with your neighbor. Give your eyes no sleep and your eyelids no slumber. Save yourself like a gazelle from the hand of the hunter, like a bird from the hand of the fowler. Go to the ant or sluggard, consider her ways and be wise, without having any chief, offer, or ruler. She prepares her bread in the summer and gathers her food in harvest. So it's talking about wisdom there. How long will you lie there, or sluggard? I don't know what it means by that. I think it's just talking about, when it talks about a sluggard, it's talking about someone lazy. That's what it's basically trying to say. When will you arise from your sleep? A little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of your hands to rest, and poverty will come upon you like a robber, and want like an armed man. So it's basically talking about, if you're lazy, then you're basically going to be in poverty, basically, and you're not going to, obviously, you know what happens just in general if you're lazy, you know what I mean? Like, you're not going to progress in life, you're not going to elevate, you're not going to get a wife, you're not going to get anything, you know what I mean? It's basically just talking about if you're lazy. A worthless person, a wicked man, goes about with crooked speech, winks with his eyes, signals with his feet, points with his finger, with perverted hearts, devises evil, continually sowing discord. Therefore calamity will come upon him suddenly. In a moment he will be broken beyond healing. There are 6 things that the Lord hates, 7 that are an abomination to him: haughty eyes, a lying tongue, and hands that shed innocent blood, a heart that devises, can't speak properly, a heart that devises wicked plans, feet that make haste to run evil, a false witness who breathes out lies, and one who sows discord among brothers. So we'll dissect that down. We'll dissect that last verse down. So the literary device of naming 6 things. 7 indicates that the list is representative rather than exhaustive. It also draws particular attention to the final items as the focus of God's hatred. It is easy to agree that God hates the first 6 items, but it is also easy to overlook the 7th, one who sows discord, and thou, the author, surprises the reader. Right, okay. Right, it's talking about warning against adultery again, so warning against being with the wrong woman. So we'll go through that again. Let me just have a drink of water. We're gonna get to it, man. Okay, you know when you just read that much, your mouth just gets dry. That's how it is, man. Right, let's do it. My son, keep your father's commandments and forsake not your mother's teachings. Bind them on your heart always. Tie them around your neck.